So 7 and 10 seem to be the questions that most people had problems with. So let me explain those really quickly. In number 7, you had to take these 6 numbers and compare them, put them in order from least to greatest, and write them on the number line. In order to compare numbers, we need them to be in the same form so that it's easier to compare. It doesn't really matter which form. You could have them in fraction form. However, they would all need a common denominator. They could all be in decimal form, or they could all be in percent form. I am going to suggest that you put them in percent form. You don't have to do it that way, but that's my suggestion. Most people make less mistakes. Putting them all in fraction form can be kind of annoying, getting a common denominator. Decimal form would work, but some people still make mistakes with decimal form. So I would put everything in fraction or percent form, and then it would be easier. So 0.7 or 7/10, if I wanted to change that to percent form, I would just move my decimal 2 places to the right. So that would be 70% form. Sorry, 70%. 20% is already 20%. 2/3, I need to first convert that to decimal form, and I can do that by dividing. The numerator divided by the denominator. 3 does not go into 2, so 0 times. I'm going to add my decimal there. So I'm going to add my decimal up top. Now, here's the deal. Since I have a 2 and a decimal point, I can add as many zeros as I want because it's still 2. So 3 into 20 goes 6 times, and that would be 18. And when I subtract, I get 2, not negative 2. Bring down that other 0. 3 goes into 20 6 times. That would be 18. And when I subtract, I get 2. Now look what's happening. It's like a repeating decimal here. So 2/3 is actually 6 repeating. Let me erase all of this stuff here. So 2/3 is 0.6 repeating. If I wanted to then put that into a percent form, you have to be careful because let me add some zeros here. It's 6 repeating, right? So if I'm going to change it into percent form, it's going to be 66, but then the 0.6 repeating still. So let me just rewrite that here for you. Get rid of all this stuff. So 2/3 is actually 66.6 repeating percent. Some people will round that up to 67%. Same thing. All right, now 1/6, same idea. So now I need to divide that. So it's 1 divided by 6. 6 does not go into 1. Add my decimal point and a 0. 6 goes into 10 one time, which would be 6. That gives me a 4. Add another 0. 6 goes into 40 6 times, which is 36. I get 4. Add another 0. 6 goes into 40 6 times, and the same thing's going to happen. I'm going to keep getting a 4, so the 6's are repeating here. And then when I go to change that to a percent, I need to move my decimal 2 places to the right. So that is actually 16.6 repeating. Let me erase all this stuff for you again. Okay, so 1/6 is 16.6 repeating percent. And again, some people round that up to 17%. Just pay attention to how they want you to round it. All right, 0.4, I'm going to move my decimal 2 places to the right. That is 40%. And 2/5, well, I know that 1/5 is 20%. 2/5 is 40%. Okay, so let's go put them on the number line. Now that I have them as percents, well, 1/2 is actually 50%. 1/2 is 100%. I'm going to write them as the original problems. So 70% is in between 50 and 100. I'm going to say about right there. So I'm going to write it as 0.7. 20% is a little less than half of a half. So 20% would be about right here. 2/3 is 67%. Well, that's a little bit less than 70%. So I'm going to say it's about here. I'm going to put it up top just to be neat. 1/6 is 16% or 17%, so that's going to be below the 20%, so that's 1/6. 40%, there's my 40% or 0.4. And then 2/5 was the same thing, so I'm going to put it in the same spot. So there we go. So convert them all to the same form, either decimals or percents. I would kind of prefer percents. It would be easier. And then just place them on the number line. Okay, let's move on to number 10. In number 10, we have a figure. Now, this is pretty important here. It says that all quadrilaterals, which means 4 sides, are squares. So that's important information. If you didn't have that information, you can't really assume a lot of things. All right, calculate the area. Well, since I know that they're all squares, this would be a 7 here. This would be a 3. Since the big thing is a square, this is a 3, 3, 7, 7. Okay, so I have 2 options. Whenever I'm finding the area of a shaded region, sometimes what I can do is find the area of the outside, and I'm going to subtract the area of the inside. That's one way to do it. So the area of the outside of this one is going to be 10 times 10, which is 100. So that's the outside. The inside area, it looks, so I want whatever's not shaded here. So I want the inside area of what's not shaded because I need what's shaded left. So 3 times 3, this one would be 9, this one would be 49, and this one would be 9. So I'm going to take 100, I'm going to subtract 9, subtract 49, and subtract 9 again. So that leaves me with 33. I didn't have any units on there. We're talking about area, so I do need to have square units. That would be my final answer. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be to take the shaded region and just break it up into rectangles. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to clear all this stuff and hopefully and find the area of the shaded part that way. If this way makes sense to you, you don't need to watch the other way. But if you want to watch the other way, go for it. Okay, so the second way to do it, notice I had to redraw the shape there, and we were given this 7 and this 3, but since it told us they were squares, we can assume all of the other measurements. So if I wanted to find the area of the shaded part just by breaking this part up, I can do that. So I can break it into 2 separate rectangles if I want. This rectangle at top is going to be 7 times 3, which let's just say is 21. Now the one in the middle is going to be a little bit trickier. This one right here, the height, is going to be 7 minus 3, so this height is a 4. Okay, I'm going to take this 7, subtract the 3 from up top, that's how I got the 4, and then it's 3 here. So 4 times 3 is 12, 21 plus 12 is 33. So that's another way to do it. You might find that one easier, but either way would be fine. Okay, if you still have questions, please ask.